Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ant. Today I'm going to be talking about NOVN. So this is an update. You can watch my previous video in the description below if you'd like to watch it after this one. Make sure to drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe, and leave your notifications on to get the latest out of these cool videos. I'm going to go through technical analysis and then news and then the expected kind of catalyst coming up for this company and how I would play this company. So let's jump right into it, and we get to see here on the 1 month 1 day. It seems to be a negative trend here that has attempted to go for a reversal on the 11th, got denied, even going that direction, and then followed through with even worse negative trend. Now on the ADX, it does support a very strong negative trend going on at 32.81. William percent R is oversold, and it has been oversold ever since 31st of July. Now we're seeing in terms of the unbalanced volume, it has been quite steady, so nothing going on significant there. Nothing interesting happening in the moving averages except that now the 10 SMA is under the 30 EMA, which makes it bearish. Stock price is under the 50 SMA and under the 200 SMA. So on the moving averages, the stock is completely bearish on that sense. Now moving on towards a bit more of an intra view in the 1 hour scale, you get to see that the MACD has gone negative today. It seems to be a little bit recovering in the extended market. ADX is around 25, and it does show that there could be a trend forming here, but the current trend is at a negative trend here. William percent R is oversold. Momentum seems to be spiraling and leaving out of control. And one thing here you get to see is that the 10 SMA crossed under the 30 EMA as well on the 1 hour scale, which makes it bearish. Stock price has dipped under the 50 SMA, which is bearish, and it's under the 200 SMA, which is bearish. So now we need to look a little bit into the moving average band, and we get to see here the moving average band is expected to trade between 75 cents and 62, although it's dipping quite fast. Now moving on towards where trends are, let's try to attempt and see if there's a trend here that has been broken. This trend has been broken. This one that was formed a few days ago has not been, a couple of days ago has not been broken, but not a significant trend here. So we're going to do another one here is we're going to do Fibonacci retracements for values. Okay, so 352, so it'll be somewhere just about here. Perfect. Yeah, we don't see any, we only see a resistance on the Fibonacci retracements of 59. We're gonna do, so I'm gonna just raise it up to right about here. Perfect. We're gonna go on to the 1 hour intervals now in order to determine supports and resistances. Current support is sitting at 0.53. Following that, 0.50, 0.52, 0.515, and then 0.50. Going on resistances, we get to see a resistance at 0.54, and then another one at 0.55, 0.555, 0.56, 0.565, 0.57, 0.575. So it seems as this one is always going on with 5 cents up. So 0.595 is on the Fibonacci retracements, 0.6, 0.61, starting going 1 cent up, 0.62, and it goes 1 cent up until 66 cents, and from there it basically follows the same kind of trend. So it really has erased a lot of the gains that it has received before. Now when we're talking about earnings here, so a quick overview in terms of their earnings. They did report their earnings on the 14th. I'm going to go through the exact earnings here, but just to load the estimates. Actually, it does not load up the estimates. Okay, interesting. So we're going to go on towards company's information and profile here in depth. So these are some of the latest news that I've actually pulled up, and I will go on through institutional ownerships in a minute. You get to see here on their current cash that they have is around 35 million compared to 13.7 million. So there's a lot more cash they're holding. Assets has almost doubled. Well, not almost has doubled, going on from 30 million to 47 million. Total stockholder deficit is around 37,000 compared to 22 million. A really amazing change on there, but that is diluted per number of shares. Now the total net loss or accumulated deficit is 234 million compared to 219 million. So they still have a lot on of debt to pay off. Total revenue here has been a little bit of an increase there from 1.1 million to 1.3 million. Total loss is 0.10 compared to 0.32. Now we're talking basically it's almost exact same net loss, very much significant less, but the number of shares have gone almost 3 times or almost 3 times as more. So there's been a lot of dilution there on the ongoing. Now, taking a quick look, their net loss is around 8 million. Their cash is around 35 million, but they have accumulated deficit of 234 million. It sounds like they do need to fix up that deficit. Now here comes in the other thing in. On the end of July, there has been a Form 424B5. This is just a reminder that they do have shelf offering, just like a lot of other stocks. So offering might be a chance later on, although I don't see why they would wait until the stock price bottoms out and then do an offering. Usually you would want the company to run its price up so you don't cause a lot of damage to the price. Now another thing here, and this is something that is very important, this was voted on 31st of July, and I don't see any updates on it, but definitely the market has reacted on it as well. That's why you see a lot of drop. And what it says here, this was on the vote here, on proposal number 2. The proposal to approve amendment of the company's restated certificate of incorporated effect, a reverse stock split company's common stock at a ratio. Okay, so basically an RS. The matter of the vote was 45 million compared to 10.4 million. So it seems that they are actually allowed to go on, or they've taken the permission to go on with a reverse split. That's related more towards compliance to stay above the $1 for the listing requirements. And there's no exact date on when that is happening, but that would come in sooner or later, I would imagine, if the price doesn't jump back to above $1 for 10 consecutive days. Now going on in terms of institutional values, you get to see that there has been quite a bit of a movement in the last week there. Nothing today, but on the 14th we see here an increase of shares, although their share average price is 17 cents. Bank of America hasn't done anything actually on there. A little bit off averaging down, I guess up at that point, 48 cents here on Northern Trust Core. Vanguard has added around 6% shares. Tattle Advisors did add around 180,000 shares. We're seeing Sabby actually leave out of this one, and that's a good news because there has been a little bit of a overview on terms of Sabby's kind of movements before and how the stock price is usually less if they are on there. BlackRock did add a bit more shares on there, around three times more shares than it did have, and different other companies did as well. So a select few have actually removed their positions, but it looks like institution is interested on this one. Now, I did talk before about how the stock is a COVID play still with their nitrogen oxide, and how there's also more research and PR coming on there, and that's expected. Now, moving on towards how I'll play the stock. It's a little bit of a rough time for this stock here. It needs to stay above the 53 cents, as that is a support currently sitting at. The next support beyond that is kind of, I would say, a really strong one would be the 46 cents. And it would have been more of a historic one, 46 to 48 cents. But it is actually going on towards the bottoming out, and either a news about an offering or reverse split would give this one a massive hit. And that's a risk that you have to understand with this one. Now, there is a lot of reward going up to $1.34, and that's around 300% from the current price up. Now, the risk on there is 50% down, or actually a lot less than 50%. I'm talking about 352, which is not a lot in terms of going on towards the reward. And we're talking about basically a loss almost around 50% down, actually. Yep, so around 352, that's 0.7. 30% down compared to 300% up. But my risk, it depends on your risk assessment for this stock, on how you actually how much risk tolerance you have. So for me, in terms of risk tolerance, I wouldn't touch the stock until it actually does pan out and kind of hits an accumulation phase, very much similar to what you have here, where it does, or even somewhere around here, where it does stay a bit on there. So that was a bullish kicker here that didn't go through and did fall back. Now, if the market sentiment stays negative, especially this week, we've seen a lot of stocks that did trade negative. It might be time to cut losses and move on to something else. But I would hold it for a couple of days and then see if the price does continue to go down. It might be time to sell, unless and if the prices hit somewhere around 0.46, I would consider it a buy. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful day.